And welcome everybody to the Greg Cherry Show here on December 16th. We are 15 days away from getting the hell out of this year. I am with Greg Cherry alongside, as always, the West Coast professor, Jeff Mincham. And we've got an interesting show today and a couple of announcements to make towards the end of the show. So stick around for those. We will definitely make sure that all the goings on of all things Greg Cherry brand as we close out 2020. But what is up, everybody? How y'all doing? We know what the drill is. Jeff, anything to say to the people en masse?
It's been an interesting few days since we last appeared together on the air, you and I. A lot of good, some not so good. But I'm looking forward to a brief weird state laws segment because, let's be honest, it's Nevada. Everything's legal up there, so we'll be doing that for about 2 minutes, and then we'll move on to the Q&A after we do, of course, our football wrestling talk. But I am currently in the search for updated music when we have to go on standby, because knowing the state laws of Nevada, we'll go on standby again because they dinged me last week more than once.
Yeah. Well, again, we'll figure out all the graphics and the music and the stuff as far as that's concerned. But as always, on today's show, the football and wrestling talk, as we always do. And it's just going to be the two of us this week. No Big G, no Colin Andrew. It's just going to be us, which we'll see how that goes. And Weird Law Wednesday, of course, we talked about it. Nevada, which surprisingly does not have a whole lot.
Yeah, that's crazy. Actually not that crazy because Nevada, like I said.
No,
so
it's really not.
Yeah.
And of course, the Wednesday Q&A. So I'm going to tell you guys now, get your questions in. We're just on the YouTube channels today, I noticed.
I decided, because here's my logic behind that. I wanted to have our shows, like your show, my show, whatever, be YouTube exclusive, because that's where the bread and butter is money-wise down the line. Like, if we have the viewers on the different channels, then we can eventually bump up monetization processes going forward. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram are great. I love those social media outlets. And Mikey's show, for example, he doesn't have his own YouTube presence as it is. So to have his show be on the Stat Boy Rants Facebook page makes sense.
Right.
And same with Dad's Not Always on Wrestling. He has his own YouTube channel as well. So to have to not maximize monetization potential seemed foolish to me. So
right. Yeah, it makes sense to me too. So we do have a comment from Manuel. Football, as in American football or soccer? It's American football.
Always American football on this show, unless the World Cup is actually a thing and the U.S. doesn't suck.
Most Americans typically don't.
No,
we don't care about soccer. I know I'm.
Here's
the thing, though. I've noticed, especially around World Cup time frame, that everybody's like, "Oh, look at soccer." It's like you never talk about soccer ever. Right. Now that the World Cup's coming along, it's like now you're talking about soccer. It's like you don't care. Shut up. You're just trying to talk about what's popular, what's happening now, and seem hip and cool, or whatever the case may be. It's like you don't care. It's I don't see you talking about oh, the American soccer team, look at how great they're doing. It's like you don't hear that.
No.
You don't.
No. And the thing with me is I don't mention American soccer team or the sport as a rule, because number one, I grew up not liking soccer other than going to my brother's games on Saturday mornings or whatever out of the local park or whatever. But the U.S. men's soccer team usually sucks. So
we leave it up to the women.
right. It's very difficult to be a soccer fan of the men's sport as a United States citizen, because so bad. bad.
The women's soccer team's way better.
And they have been consistently for the better part of the last, 10, 12 years. So
at least
that. So yeah, they, it's a rare thing when the girls don't get the job done, at least, right away, for most of the tournaments. So for us to get behind solidly a men or the men's soccer sport is like, why?
Yeah.
Anyway,
and it's not a knock to anybody that actually likes soccer. If soccer is your sport, or football as you call it over there, if that's your sport, that's fine. I'm not going to knock you for liking it. It's just not my thing.
Right, exactly.
And I'm not going to sugarcoat that and say, oh yeah, when the World Cup comes around, I root for the USA because USA. It's like,
right,
yeah, if they win, great, but I'm not going to watch the game. I
no, I don't. Yeah, and again, that's not because I'm un-American. That's just because I can't get. First of all, I'm not a huge soccer fan anyway. Like it's funny. I will watch baseball on television. People call me insane, and I understand that because baseball on TV can get very monotonous and very boring. But I honestly would watch a live baseball game rather than soccer, because soccer, there's a lot of back and forth, but there's a lot of stop time, like way too much for me. And the fouls these guys take are just like they act like they've been shot by a sniper from the balcony, and the guy barely bumped him. It's like, dude, come on, get up, give me a break.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you watch them play 90 minutes straight for a 1-0 score, which can happen in baseball. It can happen in hockey too. But
right, of course.
Plus, I mean, hockey there's action all the time.
Yeah, right. Back and forth the whole way.
And baseball, I can understand. Like you said, on TV, it's kind of rough. But when you're actually in the ballpark, it's completely different, just because of the atmosphere. I think that's a lot of the things that are missing, especially with sports this year, is the lack of a crowd. Because without that, you can have all the piped in noise that you want, but without that energy, it doesn't feel as big of a moment,
Exactly. And it's, we've talked about it across our networks here the last few days. Crowd has been everything, and it's been proven in wrestling that crowd is everything. And it's more so in professional sports, like actual competitive sports, and there is no bigger detriment sport wise that without a crowd than soccer.
Yeah,
soccer crowds are notoriously, like, almost violently loud at times, and they don't mess around with being jerks about how their team is doing badly if they are. So anyway, we spent 10 minutes on a sport we said we didn't care about. So
that's true. So let's get into our version of football as well as wrestling talk.
Yeah, it's been a very weird week because my team won and yours didn't again. I'm like, what? Huh?
The Steelers have become incredibly stagnant on offense.
Yeah.
And their defense is getting beat to hell.
Yes.
And that's what happens when you're forced to play 13 games in a row because other teams didn't follow their protocol. Which is annoying. Yeah, we're 11-2. We're going to be in the playoffs regardless of what happens. I mean, we could lose all our games from here on out. We're still going to have a spot in the playoffs. We may still win the damn division even if we lose out.
Right.
And actually, a win against the Bengals on Monday night will clinch the division for us. So that's a plus.
Definitely.
The Cowboys still have a shot to make the playoffs, but they are going to need a lot of damn help.
Yeah, we went over this on Stat Boys Rants yesterday briefly, and then he and I talked in private on a chat. It was like at least this long of a dissertation he sent me of Cowboys have to win out. That's first and foremost. They have to win out. Flat out. Then, like, every other team basically in the division has to lose most, if not all, of their games, and there's so. I compared it to a very big set of jagged puzzle pieces to put together to try to make it happen for the Cowboys. I have hope, but that's all I have at this point. It's if you believe in the power of prayer, which I tend to do, more often around you and your wife than I do normally, dude, I'm on my knee. Like, please just let them get the playoffs at least, for love of God.
Yeah, because I think if Washington wins another game, which will take them to 7-7, I basically the Cowboys' playoffs hopes are quenched.
Right, because the scenario we laid out yesterday was if the Cowboys win out, they will finish 7-9.
Yeah.
The best Washington can do in order to let the Cowboys get that spot is to be 6-10.
Yeah.
Like, and it really chaps my ass that Washington is the key. That it really pisses me off. Like, I don't like them more than almost, like I said, the Eagles are what they are, but for the longest time, Washington and the Cowboys have been just the worst because Cowboys, Indians, it's kind of how it works. I really hate that we have to rely on those assholes to suck to
actually,
get there.
I was so conflicted with Monday night's game with Baltimore and Cleveland. It's like, if Baltimore wins, that helps us in the division, but do we really want to see Baltimore again in the playoffs?
Right.
It was one of those things where it's like, okay, if Cleveland wins, they're close. They're another game closer to us and taking the division, which would be the most 2020 thing of all if Cleveland won the AFC North.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
But
well, I think they. Oh no, I'm sorry. The Packers are NFC North. I was like, I think the AFC North decided the Packers won their division, but they're NFC North. So go ahead.
Yeah, the NFC as a whole was weird because
like
you said, the Packers are ahead now because the Saints dropped the game.
Yeah,
it's in Kansas City's in firm control of their destiny.
Yeah, which is good for them, man.
It's so frustrating, though. I mean, the Bills are a good team. I'm not gonna knock losing to the Bills. That's fine. It's the loss to Washington that still chaps me.
Right. Oh God.
Because the play calling in that game was so abhorrent. It was so bad.
Yes. Yeah. There is no reason that any credible, decently coached, well-stocked roster-wise football team should lose to Washington. There's just no way that should happen.
Yeah.
Especially Pittsburgh this year, or Kansas City, or the guys that are up there in the upper echelon. The fact of the matter is, whenever this yesterday with Mikey, there are 17 teams under 500 as we head into the last couple of weeks here.
Mm-hmm.
That's bullshit for professional sports. These guys are getting paid how many millions of dollars, and they can't manage to keep their rosters, not only healthy enough, because COVID is a thing, and I get that, but like properly coached enough to keep your team above water. Like, what the fuck? Oh, there's the one. Sorry, boss. There it is.
Yeah. So. But Mike Gonzalez says Giants gonna pull the upset of the season when they beat the Browns this week. Hey, if you do that, the Steelers clinch the AFC North. So good on you.
Yeah. That's the only reason I won't completely bury the Giants this week.
Yeah, that's the only thing. It's if the Browns lose or the Steelers win, the Steelers clinch the AFC North,
which is good.
And that's any game in the next 3 weeks. So, right. I mean, the only way the Browns win the division is if they win out and the Steelers lose out.
Right.
And the fact of the matter, thanks to the loss to the Ravens on Monday.
Right. And the thing is, like, there's no disrespect to anybody, that's a huge fan of it. I'd rather see Pittsburgh win one game than the Giants win any game this season. So I'm yeah.
Yeah. I mean they're your division.
I know. Oh yeah. I'm like I said, we are the worst division in professional sports, at least as of this calendar year. So I'm okay with being the least sucky at this point, like, honestly. So.
Well, Washington's turned it up since Alex Smith returned.
Well, of course, because he's Alex Smith. But,
and he's Washington. It's going to sound scary. Can you imagine if the Super Bowl came down to Cleveland against Washington? We'd be like, what the hell happened this season?
Seriously, people are going to look back on this year, like in history, when 50 years from now, they're going to look at the books going, what the hell?
Be like, how, after Washington was arguably one of the most disappointing teams in all in the NFC, and Cleveland, which is Cleveland, how did they do it? And you know what? I can see it happening. It's the weirdest thing. I can see Cleveland and Washington somehow, some way make the Super Bowl. And yes, Mike makes a good point that Chase Young of the Washington football team is a beast. And he was a beast at Ohio State too. He was one of the top defensive players there.
Exactly.
And he's carrying it over to the NFL. So it's one of those things where a lot of times when these highly touted college athletes get drafted, they don't always live up to the hype. Chase Young is living up to the hype.
Oh, yeah.
Chase Claypool is living up to the hype. So basically your name has to be Chase and you're fine. But another thing I'm questioning is that the Steelers are dropping Chase Claypool's snaps. And I'm like, he's your leading receiver as far as touchdowns. Why are you taking him out of the game?
So frustrating.
Especially after Deontay drops the ball a lot. Johnson is still playing. And I love Deontay. Like I sung the praises of Deontay early in the season, but he has got to get out of his own damn head.
Yeah, exactly. I've been saying probably I haven't said it on air yet. I'm looking around for the DeLorean because somebody had to come back in time and screw something up for this season to be going the way it's going. Like I get 2020 as a shithead year anyway, but the NFL is just a complete what the hell. Like, it's just bananas. Like I said, half the league's under 500. It's like what? Oh,
which would make sense if it was like week 6 or something, but we're going into week freaking 15.
15. Yeah. Like, oh yeah. And the teams that are over 500, or even you go, huh?
Yeah.
Like the guys that are above water still. It's just like, okay, some of them understand, but some of it's like, okay, I guarantee somebody changed time somehow. It had to have been the case.
Yeah, like the New England Patriots, who are like perennial playoff team.
Yeah, they're way
under. They're not even. They're still in the hunt, but they're not in the top 7.
Yeah, no, ever. Like that has not happened in the, as far as I know, the Brady Belichick era. I mean, he's not there anymore, obviously. Brady.
There was one season. There was one season I think they did not make it, but that was the year that Brady went down with the injury first game of the season.
Right. So as long as as long as he's been active and on the team, they have not done this poorly. So again, I'm not trying to blow smoke up Tom Brady's ass because Lord knows I don't want to do that for any particular reason. But he's not there.
Yeah.
And Belichick and Newton are not gelling like Belichick and Brady did, obviously.
And Tampa Bay, I believe, is one of the top 7. So
Tampa's number 11 right now. They're but they're over 500. They're 8-5.
Yeah, they're not stellar by any stretch of the imagination, but they're still getting the job done for most part.
Right now, the team's over 500, going from 15 to 1. Arizona, the Raiders, which God bless the Raiders, man, they've been through some shit with their team having to move 25 times or whatever. So good on them. Miami, which again, Miami's never really been deplorable. They just haven't been in the hunt. It's kind of, is what it is. Baltimore, again, we've talked about the Baltimore Cleveland franchise. Like, just what the hell? Why are they up there? The Rams, which makes me happy because they're back in LA and they're actually doing well, so that's good. Again, Cleveland being 9-4. Wow. And the Rams, the Browns, the Colts, the Titans, and the Seahawks are all 9-4. Do you think you hear those same teams named in the same record going into Week 15? No. And then at 10-3 is Buffalo, which I am a longtime Cowboys fan, so seeing Buffalo do well for me is very bizarre because we used to go in there and whoop that ass at the end of the year every year. So it's kind of like, oh, okay.
You know what? I almost feel for Buffalo because they've been to this big dance 4 times and lost all 4.
Yeah. Well, but to be fair, 2 of those were coming up against the freaking Aikman Cowboys. They ain't winning that game. So
I understand that, but even still, to go to the Super Bowl that often and never come away with a win, it's got to be frustrating to be a Bills fan and part of the Bills.
It does. Yeah, it does. So, and then we've got the Saints at 10-3, who are now officially playoff bound as of this last week. Yeah. The Packers have won the North, like we said. Pittsburgh's 11-2. They're definitely going to the playoffs, no question about that. And then you got the Chiefs at number 1, who the only team that's lost one game. Everybody I didn't say is under 500, and like I said, that's more than half of the league.
And the thing is, the Chiefs' one loss was to the Raiders.
Yeah, which is another one of those, huh?
Something I've noticed about the Chiefs, they have the offensive. It's almost like the problem in college football. You have a great offense, but you don't have a great defense.
Yeah,
and unfortunately for the Steelers, it seems like they have a great defense, but they have a dog shit offense right now.
Well, the thing with Pittsburgh is they have an inconsistent offense.
No.
That's the problem, because there are days where Ben looks like he's 20 years old again. And then there's days where Ben looks like he's the age he is now.
Another problem with the Steelers is they don't make halftime adjustments. They don't do it. It's like, you cannot, like, you have to play the first half to understand what you're dealing with, make the adjustments in the second half to stop whatever is working for them, and go from there. And they don't do it. They haven't done it the last 2 games. Actually, they haven't done it a lot this season at all. It's very frustrating play calling and coaching. And I don't want to knock Tomlin for it, but I almost kind of have to. It's frustrating. Because I don't hate Tomlin as coach. I don't. There are a lot of people who don't like him. I want to say he gets results. He did take a team to a Super Bowl, which people are like, "Oh, that was Cowher's team." It's like, shut up. He was out of the system for a couple years at that point.
Right, exactly.
But he has not had a losing season since he took over the reins in Pittsburgh. He has not had a losing season. It's been 500 and up all 14 seasons he's been here. So people give Tomlin the flack, but he consistently has a decent or better team.
Yep.
And if he does take the Steelers to the Super Bowl, which they're going to need a lot of offensive help to do that, they're going to need a run game that produces more than 20 yards a game. You need that to happen. You cannot have Ben Roethlisberger, whether his arm is fine or not, throw 50 passes a game. You can't do it, because if your game plan is 50 or 60 passes a game and like 7 runs, guess what? You're not going to win, because they know what you're going to do. I'm no coach, but without balance in your game to throw them off, you're not going to defeat any team. I wouldn't be surprised if Cincinnati upset Pittsburgh on Monday because of their
I wouldn't either at this point. Yeah. And, Mike and I talk about this all the time. We talk about New England with Newton. It's like, Newton seems to want to be a running back more than a quarterback. It's like, Cam, dude, throw the ball. Throw the ball. Right, exactly. Yes, yeah. Michael Vick, it drove us Cowboys fans crazy that he did that all the time. It's like, dude, throw the friggin' ball. Oh God.
Lamar Jackson does the same thing. He's a mobile quarterback as well, and that could be a good thing.
Right, but he at least bounces it out for the most part. Lamar does. Yeah. But Newton, Newton in a pinch, if the Patriots are down by a couple points and they're in a pinch, he's gonna try to run the ball at the end zone rather than throw the ball. It's like, dude, he's such a tell. It's ridiculous. And again, I'm not trying to advocate for the Patriots winning, because Lord knows that's okay with me. But yeah, as a fan in general, it's frustrating to watch NFL right now. It really is. Michael pointed out they finished 9-7 in 2002 was the last time they missed the playoffs in the current era. So that's 18 freaking years. Mm-hmm. And their non-playoff record was 9-7. Okay. That's how good the Patriots have been. And like I said, now they're, whatever they're at.
All right.
They're just bad.
Yeah, I do briefly want to touch on college football.
Okay.
The top 4 teams still as of right now: Alabama, Notre Dame, Clemson, Ohio State. The ACC championship is going to be very telling of how the playoff committee thinks. I think Notre Dame is in the top 4 regardless of what happens.
Right.
Just based on the strength of their schedule, because Notre Dame beat North Carolina 31-17 a couple weeks ago. And this past Saturday, North Carolina beat the absolute piss out of Miami 62-26. And Miami was the 10th ranked team. Ooh. You love to see it if you're an Irish fan, Miami getting the crap kicked out of them.
Right. Exactly. Fantastic.
So that makes Notre Dame's win over North Carolina look freaking huge. Like, it makes them look incredible, because a team that put up 62 points on the number 10 team faced off against Notre Dame and only put up 17, which, mind you, all 17 of those points were in the first half. They got shut out the second half.
Right, exactly.
So I like Notre Dame's chances of winning the ACC championship. I'm telling you what, I had a decent feeling in 2012. I had a decent feeling in 2018. Neither one of those went well.
No.
At all.
No.
I have more than a decent feeling about this Notre Dame team.
I definitely feel you guys have a rare opportunity, more so than usual.
Ian Book is performing at a damn near Heisman level. And Clark Lee's defense, even though he's leaving for Vanderbilt at the end of the season, Clark Lee's defense has been incredible.
Yep.
If this Notre Dame team does not win the national championship, I don't know if I'm going to see it in my lifetime.
Yeah, for real, right?
Because this is their best damn shot to do it.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. So they better get the job done. I can't take another semifinal exit. I can't take if they lose to Clemson on Saturday and they're still in, I'll get over it, because they still have a chance. Granted, they'll meet Clemson again, possibly. Can you imagine? I don't think it's ever happened that a college team has played the same team 3 times in a season. I don't think it's happened. I don't think so either. I don't know that,
Here's what I think. Just based on projections, if Clemson were to beat Notre Dame, here's what I see. I see Alabama facing Notre Dame.
Right.
And I see Clemson facing Ohio State. Okay. Assuming nothing else in the rankings changes.
Right.
Which means Notre Dame would have to beat Alabama, which would so make up for 2012.
Oh yeah.
You know, as long as I've been talking about it, as long as I've been an Irish fan, that one sticks in my craw.
Oh yeah.
Dude, when I turned the game at halftime to watch the TLC match with Punk and Ryback, it was like I'm not even enjoying watching this episode of Raw. And that was 2013 when Raw was actually, better than
better.
It is now.
Yeah, better. Yeah. Yeah.
It's
That's
like
terrible.
Man, why? Just why?
It was definitely a rough day. Definitely a rough day.
And the loss against Clemson a couple years ago, they were in it for a little bit, and then they had one quarter they gave up 20 points, and they couldn't recover.
Yeah. No, yeah, you college football really, it's designed. You can't lose 20 points in a quarter and not have, it ain't gonna happen at that point, especially if it's a later quarter. So
So it's going to be an interesting day, because we're doing my in-laws Christmas on Saturday before the game.
Oh, okay.
So I am going to be like, it'll be nice Christmas, have lunch and whatever.
Of course.
But you best believe 4:00, I got my jersey on. The flag has been tapped, and I'm watching some Notre Dame football, winning a conference championship.
Right. Exactly.
Which is just insane to say, because they're typically an independent, but
yeah, but
anybody, and I say this with all seriousness. Anybody who ever says, "Oh, Notre Dame should join the conference," they don't deserve it. If they win the ACC championship, every single person who says, "Oh, Notre Dame should join the conference," should shut the hell up.
Kiss our ass.
Because we joined a conference this year We went the regular season undefeated, even unseating the number one team in the nation. So don't tell me that Notre Dame can't hang with the conference.
Exactly.
Good don't stuff. You dare tell me that.
I love it. I love it.
All right. I know we don't have a lot of laws to go to, and we didn't really talk wrestling at all.
I mean, which is funny because there's pay-per-view on Sunday, but
yeah, there is a pay-per-view on Sunday. TLC Sunday, and it actually looks like a decent card. I'm gonna say that. It looks like a decent card.
Well, they talked about it yesterday on the Nerdy Q show. I mean, Santa joined them for the Nerdy Q preview of TLC, and they were all talking about it's currently a 6-match card, which granted TLC matches can go long, so you figure Owens and Reigns and McIntyre and AJ's going to go. They're both going to go long-ish.
Yeah,
and then you've got the allure of the mix, the mystery partner for Asuka now that Lana's been taken out. My friend Kat made a great point to me this morning before I actually had coherency involved in my life at the moment. Lana went through 9 tables.
Yeah,
and now she's hurt.
Yeah,
got it. Consistency in booking in the WWE.
The most frustrating part about this is this storyline is supposed to revolve around Lana versus Nia.
Yeah.
And now Lana's not even in the match. So it's like, why do any of this?
Yeah, it's
like
so bad.
She went 9 tables. She was the sole survivor at Survivor Series. It's supposed to lead for something for Lana, and it's not. It's like whoever's writing this story needs bitch slapped in the face.
Exactly.
What are you doing?
I found myself kind of checking myself. Kat goes, "Are we sure Russo's writing this crap?" I'm like, Russo can write better than this. And I said that, I went, "Whoa." I meant it though. It's true. Russo on the writing team between 97 and 99 was optimal Russo. This crap wouldn't have fly to 97, 99. Like, this is ridiculous.
You know what? WWE should hire Russo back. I'm going to say it now because Russo is a better writer than what they have.
Oh, without question.
He absolutely is. And I know he doesn't want the job. I know he probably doesn't want the job or to be anywhere near it again. But Russo writing, you know what? I'm going to say it. WCW 2000 is better than some of the stuff now. I am going that far. No, I'll go further. WCW 2000 Thunder was better than what is on Raw right now. I am going that hard. Yes.
I don't have the music ready yet, but yeah. Jeez. Oh my goodness. That's tremendous. I love that. Oh. Yeah. Okay.
Anyway. I do have a question. I want you to take that graphic off.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, let me get back where I need to be here. I'm trying to not to have that be on screen and get in trouble. There we go. Okay. There we go.
Okay. So, all right. Question. I know we do the Q. Yeah, screw it. We'll do it now. My question today is: what is your respective positions on college players getting paid, even though some of the players get full scholarship to the college they played for? Okay, I'm going to talk about this briefly. I actually don't have a problem with college athletes getting paid, and here's why. Is a big part of why the NCAA football game series does not exist anymore is because of the likenesses and all that.
Yep.
And you know what? That is an important part. I see that side of it as like, hey, my likeness is being used, but I'm not benefiting from it at all. And you're selling merchandise without my consent. I understand that part of it now. And that's why I'm on their side. For the longest time, I was like, oh, college athletes shouldn't get paid. But, I've loosened my stance on that. It's like, you know what? I get it from a standpoint, from a legalistic standpoint. Other people making money off of you without your consent is wrong. So they should at least get some compensation from their likenesses, if not their names, being used. And if it leads to the comeback of the NCAA football series, which honestly is better than Madden. The NCAA football series was better than Madden.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
I would like to see it. They're supposed to hear. I saw a notification on the ESPN app earlier that the Supreme Court's going to hear that case next year. I'm not sure when next year, but they're going to hear that case. And I think the college athletes should get paid. But if they're going to get paid, I'm going to say this much. If they're going to get paid for endorsement deals and likenesses and stuff, then the universities should give their scholarship money somewhere else, because you shouldn't be giving the athletes money to come to the college and then turn around and give them more money on top of it. It's like, because the college, unless they work out a deal that like, hey, there's like a split here where you get some of the money, we get some of the money because you're succeeding for us, blah, 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 blah. Mm-hmm. It's going to be a messy situation. I'm going to say that. It's not going to be very clear cut.
No.
But the universities should benefit somewhat from this. And if they can actually save some scholarship money and give it to more like academic students and like stuff like that, then so much the better. As long as it benefits everybody in some facet, I'm good with it. It's going to be very hard to pull off. You're going to piss people off one way or another, but I would like to see them get paid, get their endorsement deals, get their likeness deals for the video games and whatnot. But at the same time, I don't think they should get full-blown scholarships to have their classes paid for when they're making money elsewhere. Now, if they don't pay for the call, now here's the thing. It's going to teach them money management real damn quick.
Oh, yeah.
You're not going to go blow your money on like Ferraris and stuff when you got school to pay for.
Right.
Because you're not going to be coming back to school to make that money if you don't pay for your college. So it's going to be a real quick, sharp turn lesson in budgeting there, pal. So,
yeah, and the other thing is they need to be held to a higher standard. If they're going to be paid, not professional, but, college level athletes, drug testing needs to be heavily enforced.
Yeah, I mean, it
should be anyway, but at the university level, when they're still kids, I mean, really, 18, 22, you're still a kid. You just are. So yeah, you need to be held to a higher standard. And if you can't keep your grades up, if you can't keep your drug paraphernalia use in check, and you can't keep your gameplay in check, you don't get paid. You don't get to go to school. All that shit.
Or you forfeit your money to the university.
Which is even better, which I'm okay with that. I'd rather forfeit money to the university and have the university not, pay for their personal indiscretion bullshit than have the NCAA get the kickback. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, it doesn't need to go to the NCAA. I mean,
no.
Although I'm sure they'll try and get their cut somehow.
Well, I'm sure they will. And see, and it's the thing, I love your suggestion, but there are so many layers on the onion of what if it goes bad that it's just it's a stinky onion, man, for real.
It's like I said, it's not going to be a clear cut situation from the very beginning. It's going to be very convoluted. It's going to involve multiple facets, from the NCAA to the college teams to the athletes to potentially
to the universities themselves. Universities
themselves. It's going to be a messy situation. That's a great question, this guy.
I love it. Question. Love that question.
I'm glad you brought it up, because it's such a hot topic. And like I said, in the past, I've gone back and forth with it, but I'm on the side of the college athletes getting paid. I think they should. Should they get paid for the games necessarily? I don't think that's necessary. Again, likenesses and stuff like that, perfectly fine. It's a lot of contracts to draw up, especially since the NCAA game has, 100 and some teams, FBS, FCS teams in the game. I mean, it's a lot of work that you're going to have to do, but I mean, I think it's a necessary step. And it's going to have to be something that's sent to the universities to be like, okay, every player that competes on this team has to sign this, and this. It's going to be a lot of paperwork. But
when money's involved, there always is.
Yeah. So there's that. Going back to TLC real quick. I hate the Lana storyline even more, because
at this point,
it's not going to have a conclusion. It frustrates me that we kind of got Lana versus Nia, but it was such a throwaway.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
Like Lana's moment should be to win the tag team championships with Asuka. That's what the moment should be.
Yeah.
It's not
Monday was more about reintroducing Mandy than it was about Lana. I think I love Mandy, but that was bullshit.
Yeah. It's so frustrating.
Yeah.
And if this whole thing is just being used to bring back Charlotte, everybody's gonna be so pissed.
Oh yeah, even me. Yeah,
because Charlotte has no business in this storyline whatsoever, and if it's just to put gold on her again, it's like, come on, guys.
Yeah, I said the other day, the only way I want Charlotte to be near the tag team championship is if Tessa Blanchard's her partner.
Yeah,
because I want some legacy going. That'd be tremendous. But
I mean, granted, Charlotte won't even be the first, Grand Slam winner. She won't.
Right.
She'll be like the fourth behind Bayley, Asuka, and Sasha.
Right.
But it's still the fact of the matter that, like, why? And also, why is the Raw Women's Championship involved with the Tag Team Championships at TLC again?
Yep.
Like the fact. It should tell you something that you don't have enough women, or you don't focus on your women enough to have two separate storylines for the Raw Women's Championship and the Women's Tag Team Championship. You got Sasha all fine on SmackDown with Carmella.
Well,
is there nobody ready for Asuka?
I disagree with your statement just there, because Sasha Carmella is a freaking no-win scenario. You have Carmella, who just came back, has been pushed this unstoppable force. She's untouchable. That's the gimmick.
Yeah,
but she probably should lose Sunday. Or you've got Sasha, who we all were just giddy that she finally made a successful freaking title defense, but she shouldn't lose on Sunday. So, like, no matter who wins or loses, like, the storyline of the person involved just completely tanks. Like, instantly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's dumb.
And I swear if Charlotte comes back, wins the tag team titles with Asuka, and then they lose, and then Asuka and Charlotte... I'll wait till your headphones are back on so you hear me. If this whole thing... Because a lot of people are assuming it's Charlotte. We may be wrong. I would be surprised if we are.
Right.
But if it's to bring back Charlotte... to win the tag team titles, to lose the tag team titles, just so Charlotte can beat Asuka for another title. It's like, come on, guys.
Yeah.
Like, Asuka should just, like, quit the company that day. It's like, why do you have me champion around WrestleMania just to lose it to freaking Charlotte again?
Again. Yeah, exactly. And again, nobody has touted the greatness of Charlotte Flair more than I have in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
But like I said, the only way I want her in that tag title picture is with Tessa after she's been back for a while. Don't just come back and, oh, by the way, Tessa's with me now, so here we go. It's like, give me a story.
Because I don't think Arn has any daughters.
No. And I know, let's see, if we're going with Ole doesn't have any daughters at all, and that doesn't surprise me because I don't think he could put up with having a daughter because he's so spastic. Like I think the only long-term horseman that could be thought of with bringing in a daughter for Charlotte's team with would be Kurt Henning's daughter, but I don't know if she's still wrestling or not.
No,
and his horseman tenure was tenuous.
It was very brief.
Yeah, and by design, he was never actually really a horseman, if you really want to draw it up like that. But I don't think any of the other daughters of the horsemen are in the business, which, again, it ain't for everybody, so I don't blame them. But yeah, I don't see a need for Charlotte to be immediately a tag team champion when she comes back. She's still got youth on her side where she's going to be wrestling for a while. She can get there. Elon makes a good point. Kairi Sane is not really being thought of because she departed so willingly and was just got the hell out of there in a hurry. It would not surprise me if they went, maybe. So
if it's Kairi, I'm good with it.
I am too.
I've also heard Naomi.
which I'm way good with. I'm way good with that one. Because there's another one that doesn't get near enough credit at all. I know, give Naomi more airtime, whatever the hell the hashtag was earlier this year. But again, I need, and I don't understand why in 2020, where all these movements are happening, why we can't have the women have good, credible storylines. This Lana thing has been built up for months.
Yep.
Literally months, because you figure 9 weeks of tables is 2 months.
Yeah.
So,
and now to have zero payoff for it.
Yeah. The only way it pays off for me, and I said this, I didn't say it. Santa brought it up yesterday. And I may mention it Monday. Is if Lana comes down the ramp.
Yeah,
injured and gets involved. But if she's going to do that, why write her? I mean, granted, the great comeback story of an injured talent coming back and winning a championship, it's a good, heartstring moment, but we all know she's not really hurt, so it's effing BS.
Yeah. So
it that moment is not there for me in my heart as a fan, because I know it's bullshit. So it's just it's so bad. It's been booked so poorly, and I feel so bad for CJ, because it looked like we were actually okay. She paid for Miro's sins, but now they're giving her redemption, and then you yank that carpet out faster than you can freaking think. Just
But I think that's enough about TLC and our frustrations. The Rumble's next month, so hopefully something happens.
Yes, but I found out yesterday in the course of taping Dads that the Rumble is also JJ's favorite pay-per-view of the year.
There you go.
I didn't know that until yesterday. I've known him for 15 years. Didn't know that. So there you go.
All right.
He's got good taste.
We're going to get into Weird Law Wednesday real quick. Only a few laws, but the Silver State. We'll see how sterling these all are.
I understood that reference.
There you go. All right. So first law from Nevada. It is illegal to drive a camel on the highway.
Well, I would hope so in Nevada.
I don't know how you drive a camel unless the camel gets on the back seat of a taxi or something.
Right. And for me, thank God the strip isn't a highway, because there's no traffic here as it is.
Also in Nevada, it's still legal to hang someone for shooting your dog on your property.
I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with that too, honestly. Like, don't mess with my dog.
Yeah. Seriously, do not mess with my dog. No.
Of course, I don't think you'd want to mess with my dog in the first place, because he'll bite your face off.
Yeah, same with mine. She's a sweet pit bull, but no Changus.
In Clark County, Nevada.
Oh, here we go.
An ordinance makes bringing a concealable firearm into the county illegal unless it is registered with the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department. I don't know if it warranted that necessarily.
I think it did, because of the Vegas shooting 3 years ago.
Yeah. I wasn't thinking of that. I was just...
Well, I only think of that because I have friends there, and because I lost the first of 3 in a row Jason Aldean concert years because of that. Yeah, that guy's stockpile in that hotel room makes that law go. Just saying. So,
in Elko, Nevada, this one is the most 2020 of all the laws.
Okay,
everyone walking the streets is required to wear a mask.
Wow.
See, if this was pre-2020, this list,
it would definitely be a stumper.
But now it's like, it seems commonplace, and they're like, Elko's like, "Ha, we're ahead of the curve. Suck it."
Right. I've never heard of Elko, Nevada. Where the hell is that? Out of curiosity, I gotta look it up later. Anyway,
in Eureka, Nevada,
I've been there.
Men are forbidden from kissing women.
I'm going to jail again. Damn it!
There you go.
Because I've done that in Nevada, so I'm. Please don't find me.
Yeah, in Nyala, Nevada, NYAOA. I believe that's how you said it.
Yeah.
A man is forbidden from buying drinks for more than 3 people other than himself at any one period during the day.
That seems kind of selfish.
Maybe it's like, how long is the period though? Is it like a 20-minute period and then you get a 20-minute break and then another 20-minute period? Is it like hockey periods?
But here's the thing there. If you're buying 3 drinks in one period, it better be an hour at least. For one thing, if you're buying 3 drinks in 20 minutes, you have a problem that this weird law thing can't even solve. Okay, let me be clear on that. And that's why it's like, why can't we buy for other people? Like, why can't we share our Ric Flair can't go to Nile, Nevada. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, you can't buy everybody around.
No, you can't, which is ridiculous and selfish. Like I said,
in Reno, Nevada.
Speaking of drinks and water,
it is illegal to lie down on the sidewalk.
See, Reno, that'd be hard because people kind of lose their ass in Reno at the casinos. So I'd be on the sidewalk too. Oh no, I'm going to hell. Yeah. So.
Also in Reno, benches may not be placed in the middle of any street. Well, I would hope not. How do you drive around a bench? Benches may not be placed in the middle of any street.
And this is in Reno.
That's in Reno.
Yep. They are so weird up there. Oh, Jesus. Anyway.
And finally, in Reno, Nevada, get the graphic ready.
Okay.
In Reno, Nevada, sex toys are outlawed. Yep.
Better Reno than Vegas, I guess.
Oh my. Arrow 2600. I can't believe
it's actually in a law in the state of Nevada. Like, I thought when we said Nevada that there wouldn't be anything that would be like not Nevada. Like, that's the Nevada law right there. Like, those aren't allowed up there, considering what is legal up there. Wow.
Arrow 2600 says, I hate the YouTube algorithm sometimes. Videos like this deserve more views. Well, thank you, Arrow. I appreciate that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That means a lot. Thank you for that.
It really does. And we tend to agree.
Yeah. We might be a little biased.
That's right.
But anyway, we're going to hit our Wednesday Q&A. But before we do, you have time to get your questions in. But I do want to make a couple of announcements. First of all, there will be no episode of the Greg Cherry Show next week. It's Christmas week. We're all getting ready to spend time with our families. Hopefully we get that opportunity for most of us. And so there will be no Greg Cherry Show next week, or at the same time the following week for the 30th, because December 30th we are going to do a very special evening version of the Greg Cherry Show at 6 o'clock
evening
Eastern.
Version.
Yes, at 6 o'clock Eastern on December 30th, because I'll get that.
Oh, snap.
I'll get the other graphic off the screen. There you go.
There we go. There we go.
We're going to reveal the full bracket for who is in the Wrestling Trivia Challenge tournament. And yes, that is not a typo. There are going to be 17 people. Not 16, 17 in the tournament. And I'm going to tell you what, with one of those matches, for those of you who are viewers of the show, you know one of the matches. One of the matches is a triple threat match featuring all 3 former Wrestling Trivia Challenge champions. Because only one of them's moving on. Well, I'm the current champion, so I can't be on.
That's what I'm saying.
So yes, Jeff Meacham, Chris Cass, David Diaz, triple threat match. That will kick off the tournament. That will be the very first match we are.
Yeah.
The rest of the tournament, you will find out in 2 weeks. But I do want to tell you, I already have the triple threat questions done.
Oh, goody.
All 30 of them.
Well, in the words of Jesse Spano, go ahead.
Yeah, I am waiting on skip questions. All skip questions will be coming from one individual.
Oh boy.
To be named later. I'm not saying
okay.
it now.
Oh, okay.
So unless he's in the chat and he outs himself, but
I will say this. In the words of Jesse Spano on Saved by the Bell, I'm so excited. I'm so scared.
Very well done.
Terrible Elizabeth birthday impression. I apologize for that, Elizabeth, if you're watching in your palatial estate doing Peacock episode Saved by the Bell. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Anyway.
That's okay. Just don't take pills before, okay?
Well, no, right. and to be fair, she did Showgirl, so she owes me an apology too. So anyway,
there you go. All right, so a couple questions here.
Yes,
Mike Gonzalez, do you think Rollins returns at the Rumble, wins, and turns face? I feel like I don't know if it'll be a face turn, but I think the Messiah gimmick is dead. At least I hope it is, because it's run its course already.
Yes,
it's been a year.
A good year, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, it's always been uncomfortable, and he feuded with the Mysterios for the better part of 8 months. So if he doesn't come back with Burn It Down, there's your answer. But I do see a Rumble return happening because I mean, what else would you do with him? There's no reason to put him as a storyline. Just throw him in the Rumble next month. Maybe even have him start the Rumble. Wouldn't be the first time. Jeff, what are your thoughts? Or did you freeze? Or did I freeze? What happened? And Jeff's gone. Okay. It's my show again. Yay. Yeah, that's what I think. I think Rollins does return at the Rumble. Whether or not it will be as a face remains to be seen. But I think it'll be. I don't know if it's a full-blown face turn, but I kind of hope the Messiah gimmick is gone, personally. I never cared for it. What is the one superstar that deserves the WWE title? Mr. Kennedy. No, I wouldn't have minded that from years ago. On the current roster, Montez Ford. Montez Ford will be a future WWE champion, or at least he should be. Dude's entertaining as hell. Also, Xavier Woods. And a lot of people might question that. It's like Xavier Woods has the ability, has the mic skills. He's got the personality. He's got the star power. I think he could be a good WWE champion, personally. I think all three members of the New Day should be WWE champion. I think Big E should win the Universal. I think Xavier Woods should win the WWE title. Kofi's already been WWE champion, so there's that. But there you go. Montez and Xavier Woods, both of them. Elon Brown. There you are.
Hi.
He's back. Yay. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
What happened?
We lost internet, so I'm on my phone because that's the only thing that'll work for internet right now.
Okay. Well,
I'm on data, so we gotta go quick.
Yep, that's fine. First of all, I'm going back to Mike Gonzalez's question. Rollins' return. Do you think he returns as a face heel?
Yeah, I've been thinking about that for a while. It wouldn't surprise me if he babyface turned and faced Roman at Mania, but I still say they're holding out for a Dwayne appearance. So time will tell if they make that happen with or without a crowd. So we'll see how that plays out. If they can't get Dwayne, wouldn't surprise me if Rollins was the guy.
Okay. This guy Experience. What superstar deserves the WWE Championship?
Oh, goodness.
That hasn't had it.
What's that? Oh, that hasn't had it. Right.
Yep.
My goodness. The WWE Championship itself, Kevin Owens is on my list for sure.
Somebody who hasn't been a world champion. So that includes Universal.
Okay. All right. Come back to that one. Let me think about it.
Okay. I said Montez Ford and Xavier Woods. Those were my two.
I would say Big E, if anybody. I mean, if you count NXT as a world championship, then that's obviously disqualifies him. But yeah, Woods is definitely a good choice. I don't know if Montez is there yet, though. That's the thing. But
I don't know. I don't think he's there yet, but I think he could be.
Right.
Any word about AOP? They got released and haven't heard nothing. You usually hear a rumor or something. Yeah, they got released back over the summer.
Yeah, I know that they got released, and I know that they were gonna have them brought back when the furlough thing had ended. But they haven't done that yet with anybody, so I don't know. Where's my camera? There it is. Hi. I think AOP got kind of ruined with not moving up and sticking with Ellering and doing the whole thing with Rollins that started the Messiah thing. Like, I think that could have been a lot better use of them, but they just kind of tanked it right away. So, as far as coming back, any of the other companies could use another tag team like them. They're big, they're strong, and they got a great look. So,
all right, last question. Who's the one wrestler, past or present, that the WWE dropped the ball on big time? Just one, real quick.
Wow. I mean, in the recent memory, Finn Balor comes to mind. I mean, granted, he got hurt not too long after that when he was going to be Universal Champion, but even still, they haven't done anything to really help him rebound from that. So he's definitely on my high.
I mean, he's the NXT champion right now, so
right. But they're injured or not, they're not doing a whole lot with him. Like, and he's so much more talented than that treatment has been laid upon him. So I don't like that at all. I mean, I was trying to think from way back. You know who really got. Again, this is not the only wrestler on my mind. Just but he popped in my mind because we always talked about him on the WQ panels. Bart Gunn had a lot of potential when he and Billy broke up. Now, granted, Billy's a charismatic mother effer. There's no question about that. But Bart Gunn had the brawl for all thing carrying with him, and he could have gone with that and just been a badass. And instead, Butterbean took his damn head off, and they did nothing with him after that. They had no. They booked Bart into a no-win scenario, like I said with Charlotte, with Sasha and Carmella. You're not going to beat Butterbean in a straight fight. It ain't going to happen. Yeah. So for them to sit on that for the better part of a year and then just have Butterbean drop him, bad booking. Bart Gunn suffered a lot. Mark Merrow also. I've crapped on Merrow a lot, but they really dropped the ball with him in both companies. So.
All right, so I'm going to say currently Cesaro.
Oh yeah.
Past, I know he was injured a lot. Mr. Kennedy.
Yes, both of them definitely.
He should have been world champion at least once. He wasn't TNA, so it is what it is.
Right.
But Kennedy was so good on the mic. Say what you want about his wrestling skills. I think he was good.
He's a wrestler too.
Yeah, but one of the more entertaining people on the microphone, and he's often forgot about, and it sucks because he was so good at what he did.
Yes,
and he's just overlooked.
Yeah, that's definitely. It's funny. I don't think it's Cesaro anymore because it's like he always wins the underutilized Star of the Year in the WQ. It's like it's almost a given that they're not going to use him right. But Kennedy's kind of a weird, not a weird, but I don't think about Kennedy anymore because I so rarely see him. But yeah, he definitely, they dropped the ball. And again, he got hurt and he was part of that suspension thing. So I get it, but they could have glazed over that and they didn't. And that was very unfair to Ken.
Yep. All right. So that is all for this week's episode of the Greg Cherry Show. We will see you again in 2 weeks. Again, follow me on Twitter at Greg Cherry Brand. You will know it won't air in the same time slot in 2 weeks. Right. It'll air at 6 p.m. Eastern. Because, like I said before, full-blown bracket reveal for the Wrestling Trivia Challenge Championship Tournament. And it will be advertised on the Jeff Meacham Network, on the Greg Cherry Brand, on the No DQ channel. Because it's a big deal. It's a really, really big shoe, as Ed Sullivan used to say. And it's going to be such a fun time to discuss. Yeah. And that might be the entire show, quite frankly, just talking about the brackets.
Right.
And maybe I'll even throw out another bracket challenge. Perhaps somebody could win a Greg Cherry brand T-shirt from Teespring for filling out the bracket the most successfully.
All right.
But
well,
we will
there's two things there. One, never bet against Big Match Jeff. Number two, also that week on Friday, New Year's Day, of course, we're doing the anniversary show for the network in general. And I decided that the part of that, or the high majority of that show, is going to be clips of the past year, the best of the network from the past year. And I guarantee there's going to be stuff from this show. There's going to be stuff from the trivia challenges. Like it's going to be a fun day, and we're starting that show also at either 6 or 7 Eastern. So stay tuned for that and the announcements as far as coming up in the next couple weeks.
And as always, don't forget, with it happening tonight, even though it's the last one of the year, hashtag Cherry for Quizzlemania.
Yes, always.
Which, yes, this is an official Quizzlemania championship, fan Quizzlemania champion, 2 times over, actually.
Which is why we haven't had David challenge you for the championship, because that's not the official championship. So
yeah, so the Cherry for Quizzlemania is to get me on the main show, because obviously I can get in the fan Quizzlemania. Anybody can get in the fan Quizzlemania if you do the Patreon thing, but the fact that I've won it twice adds fuel to the fire, baby.
Hey, baby.
And that's what it is. Like I've beaten fields of 40 or 50 people to win this thing.
Yep.
So it's not exactly like, hey, there aren't a whole lot of people doing this. It's like, there are quite a few people doing it, and I'm whooping them all. Because
exactly.
In the words of Mark Henry, that's what I do.
I do.
So, hashtag Cherry for Quizzlemania. Send it tonight to them. And of course, we will see you after Christmas for another edition of the Greg Cherry Show for the bracket reveal in 2 weeks. For everybody out there, I hope you have a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, whatever you celebrate. Be good to each other, be kind to each other, and we will see you next time on the Greg Cherry Show.